Morning, guys. It's Wednesday morning, and welcome to our assembly. So, on Monday, you saw an assembly about a scientist. So, see if you can remember who that scientist was. What was his name? Put your hand up and tell your teacher, or tell your adult that you're with. That's right, it was David Attenborough. Well done. And David Attenborough was a really famous scientist because he did lots of finding out. He saw and observed. That's the posh word for seeing things in the natural world and watching them and seeing what they do. Okay, so he observed animals and right the way around the world and even under the water. And some of you might have gone home and seen some of his TV programs too. So well done if you've done that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a think about our global goals of life on land, life under the water today, and we're going to think about sustainable use and consumption as well. And we're going to think about the planet and some of the natural resources that the planet has and our environment. Okay, so what we're going to do is have a look at our presentation, Your Planet Needs You. And this has come from the charity Christian Aid. And this is a Christian group of people. So these are Christians who believe in charity and looking after each other because that was what God taught. But actually, despite the fact that it's a religious group, they just care about people and they help people. So you don't have to be a Christian to help the charity Christian Aid. Anybody can do it because it's about looking after other people as well. And that's the important thing there. So here's a question for you. Are we ready? Would you rather live on the roof of your house for one whole week or only eat one meal every day? There you go. Stop and have a think. Tell your teachers what you would rather do. Would you rather live on the roof of your house for a week like these people are? Because there's water, there's flood water there along the bottom. Or would you rather only eat one meal, maybe even less than the food there, every day? Okay? So, do you think you'd ever really have to do that? Do you think anybody in the world would have to do that? That's the question, isn't it? Let's have a look at this one. So this is Gouanfing Coulibaly, and Gouanfing lives in Mali in West Africa, 13 years old. So the weather's changed a lot in Mali and the rainy season has become much shorter, so the ground is drier and there's very little water. People have cut down trees for firewood, which is also bad for the environment. And Gouanfing's dad, who's a farmer, is finding it really hard to grow crops for the family. And most people grow their own food. So if it doesn't rain, people go hungry. Gouanfing says, the seasons have changed. The rainy season is shorter. In the past, you could see big trees around this area. You can't see them now. There were wild animals in this forest close to our village. My father says they're not here now. The changing weather made food very scarce, and for a while, all Gouanfing had to eat was porridge and tomatoes. Just one meal a day. Now, Gouanfing likes playing football and shooting goals up front, so he needs a lot of energy. Can you imagine that your only meal was porridge and tomatoes once a day? And all of those things, all of those changes have happened in the last few years. So Gouanfing is only 13 years old, but remembers when there was trees and farmland all around. Let's have a look at the next slide. Now, luckily for Gouanfing, his mum is now growing food in a market garden, which was set up by Christian Aid's partner, AED, to help people who are having trouble growing food. And now there's more food for Gouanfing, and he can eat 4 meals a day. So Christian Aid and their partner, AED, have put together this project called a market garden where people can grow their vegetables and then they can sell the vegetables as well. So that's the impact of the work that Christian Aid have done. So what's Gouanfing doing to help the environment? He says, we have been told in school that we should plant trees to stop the ground eroding. That means being washed away by the water. Also, if there are lots of trees, it will rain more. So we've got that fantastic thing that Gouanfing is actually being taught in school how to look after the environment. So it's not just being left to the adults, which is really, really cool. A really, really good thing. So we can help people like Gouanfing by helping charities like Christian Aid. And we can help people like Gouanfing by making sure that charities like Christian Aid support his education and teach him what to do so this problem doesn't continue. So, this is Parvesh Kumar and his little sister Kanchan, and they live in India. Okay, and let's have a look at the next picture. Here we go. What do you think's happened there? Have a really good look at the picture. Look at the man there. What's he pulling along? And why is he walking in the middle of all of that water? So stop the video, turn to the person that you're sitting with, or sitting at the next desk to, and tell them what you think about it. What do you think is happening? Right. So, in Manganj, which is Parvesh's village in India, there was an enormous amount of rain in 2008, in August. And this caused terrible flooding when the river Kosi burst its banks. Parvesh's mum and his sister Kanchan were away visiting relatives, but Parvesh and his dad were at home. The flooding was so bad that Parvesh and his dad had to climb up onto the roof of the house and stay there for 13 days until a boat came and rescued them. Luckily, they'd taken some rice up onto the roof, so they had food, but only for a while. Wow, imagine having to live on the roof of your house for 13 days. And you might climb up on the roof of your house to begin with and think, oh, this is exciting, but then you knew that you could get down again afterwards. But actually, to be there for 13 days, and that's where you'd have to sleep, that's where you'd have to live, that's where you'd have to go to the toilet, that's pretty awful, isn't it? Parvesh said, I was afraid I would be drowned. It was an unforgettable moment for me. I was surrounded by water. So that is pretty incredible to think that that sort of thing is going on and in different places around the world. So we've heard about drought in Mali and flooding in India. And in many places around the world, climate change means that the weather is changing from its usual patterns. And that means that some children really do go hungry, and sometimes children have to escape flooding. So, climate change. What can we do to help, and how can we be environmentally friendly? Now, I think the children at Wincham know a lot about being environmentally friendly. I think we're quite good at it. So what I want you to do is I want you to stop the video again, and I want you to have a quick chat as a class or as a family about what you do now to be environmentally friendly and what you can do in the future. Go. Right. So hopefully you've had a good discussion. You come up with some really good ideas. Might be things like turning off the lights, saving paper, walking or cycling rather than driving, take a train rather than a plane, turn off your TV, turn off your computer game at the wall so it's not wasting electricity and things like that. And climate change is a global problem, so people all over the world need to work together to solve it. And we need to remind the leaders of our countries to be environmentally friendly and look after the planet. And of course, we need to change our own behaviour as well. So what we're going to do over the next couple of days is we're going to have a think about how we can change our own behaviour. And it might be things that are really straightforward, like I said, like turning the light off when you leave the room, or making sure that you recycle and you don't forget and just put a piece of paper in the bin. And then on Friday, in Friday's assembly, we're going to look at the things that we can do, and we're going to look at lots of different ways that we can help to save the environment. Okay, there you go, guys. That's your assembly for today. I'll see you around school. All right, if you're at home, have a lovely day. Be good for mums and dads, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.